Hello guys and welcome to my new video, and again we're looking at 8.2, and there's been a lot of information emerging in terms of the Mythic plus changes that are happening in the in the big patch, where a lot of people considering 8.2 to be the savior of World of Warcraft for a lot of people because they're not enjoying World of Warcraft. And there's been a lot of information released about Heart of Azeroth neck, and there's been quite a few changes happening with Mythic plus, and there's been quite a few nerfs, or at least few nerfs announced for the tanking, for the rogues, for some underperforming tanking specs which have been waiting for buffs for like 5 months now or something. And we'll talk about that. First of all, this is the list basically of what's happening in 8.2 in terms of what Blizzard is going to do. This is some of the pointers made by Wowhead. I think it was on Sleuth's stream, who had like insider, or had some inside information about what's going to happen in 8.2, and it's very interesting read. Blizzard is really excited to add more rewards to Mythic plus seasons like tiles and mounts, and this is something that I covered in my previous video. And this is really awesome because Mythic plus is also going to, at least from what I read, Mythic plus is going to be a way of getting certain essences, which can be referred to as abilities or passive abilities, in 8.2, and therefore some of them can be really strong. And there's probably going to be some cosmetic changes. And this is, I've been waiting for this for such a long time, because I feel a Mythic plus, or in terms of rewards, in terms of cosmetic rewards, in terms of titles, has been non-existent. So thank God they're actually bringing this in some way. No new base affixes until 9.0, which is a little bit, honestly, I feel that Blizzard has mentioned at the very start of BfA, this is a BfA beta, that they were going to do Kiss Curse type affixes, and they were looking into it, and they're basically announcing that it's going to be a while until there's going to be new affixes, which kind of feels, honestly, I enjoy having some kind of differentiation. I get bored of the affixes doing it week in and week out and things like that. So I don't know, I really do wish they would add something more, maybe removed some of the, they're actually going to remove some of the combos, which you can read later on as well, but I'm kind of disappointed about this. I wanted new affixes a bit earlier, but we'll see what they come up later on. Is considering more single target focus affix for season 3. So season 1 we had Gahoonies, season 2 we're having Reaping, which really works well for AoE classes. Gahoonies was kind of like a single target CC class oriented, and now they're thinking about a single target focus and affix for season 3. So I guess single target classes are going to really, maybe the meta is going to go towards single target, but we'll talk about how meta is going towards melee classes, and that's been like very prevalent in MDI and things like that. We'll see what it's like. I'll be honest with you, I didn't think that I hated Gahoonies. I didn't think that I hated Infested, but after doing Reaping, I really hated Infested. And I hope they're not going to bring something like that back again, because I really enjoy the whole part of Reaping. Reaping is too easy, and Blizzard has actually said that Reaping is too easy. But I really enjoy the fact that if you get good affixes for a week, you can do these massive AoE pulls. You don't have to CC, you don't have to control. It's not going to slow it down by loads. I honestly enjoy Reaping. I don't care if it's too easy. I enjoy the aspect more. I hate it Infested. The more I think about it, I hope they're not going to bring something like that again. I like just AoEing everything down, but that's just my opinion. But I hope they're not going to bring something similar to Infested. So Blizzard is looking to balance for affix combos. They're going to remove some affix combos completely, removing 1 or 2 of the combos completely. Makes sense. Some of the combos are really stupid. Blizzard is exploring affix combo difficulty instead of messing with dungeon difficulty. Again, so they're gonna just basically balance all Mythic plus based on affixes, and they're trying to, like, it makes sense. If you were able to complete plus 12 one week, and you can't complete like a plus 9 the other week and things like that, it makes no sense. Okay, Blizzard is considering having something like Raider.io score in-game, but nothing is planned right now. So this is probably going to be highly controversial for a lot of people. A lot of people don't like Raider.io. I am on the fence on it. I feel it does what it's supposed to do. It might not be the best way of doing it, but it serves a purpose. So Blizzard's plan about scoring system is to fix some issues from community-driven ones. Like having affixes matter and other contextual information added to it. So the way I read it, it feels like Blizzard is going to add a certain score. Let's say a score for a dungeon. Let's say you do the plus 15 mother load with, I don't know, fortified bursting or stuff like that. And that combo of affixes is going to be worth more than a 15 with sanguine. That's the way I read it. Maybe they're gonna add a different score for different affixes, because like Blizzard already mentioned, different affixes affect weeks really greatly. So what's the point, like right now? What's the point of pushing Mythic Plus if you're all about the IO score? What's the point of pushing this week? This week is, let's say it's terrible. I'm just gonna wait 4 weeks in advance when I'm gonna get that sanguine, fortified, what else is there? I can't remember. The easy week, or volcanic as well. I'm just gonna wait for that week, and I'm gonna push my hardest, and I'm just gonna leave it, because I know next week is gonna be way harder. So I feel this is what they're trying to fix. They don't want 1 week to feel great and the other week to feel really bad, which again, I can get behind that, no problem. In terms of IO score, I mean, there is a ranking for PvP. There's no reason that Blizzard shouldn't implement something for PvE as well in terms of Mythic Plus. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Again, I think some people will really hate that, but I don't see any way around. Like, if this wasn't implemented, there'll be other ways to do it. Balance between range and melee isn't good right now. There isn't enough danger to melee, making their contribution to the group more relevant. I agree. I feel there is a lot of class or role disparity in raids, where sometimes range is a lot better. Like, let's be honest, in raids, ranged just tend to be better than melee. In Mythic Plus, melee tend to be better than ranged. So I guess there is a certain balance, if you say. If you want to play primarily in raids, you might want to go with ranged. If you want to play primarily in Mythic Plus, you might want to go with melee. How are they going to fix this? No idea. I don't see a way of fixing this other than having all of these bunch of melee only abilities happening in Mythic Plus, where melee might take extra damage, or it'll be hard for them to deal damage. They can't get close to the mobs or stuff like that. 9.0 would be great affix revisit. Looking forward to that. Again, really long time. Shadow Meld is an issue right now because of Reaping. They aren't going to nerf it outright. If anything, they're going to make Reaping, you know, Shadow Meld in some way. I don't think they should nerf Shadow Meld, just because I feel Alliance needs the extra players. So I feel if until the balance gets better, the more overpowered Alliance seems to everybody, the more people will go to Alliance, and maybe the balance is gonna be better, because you can see right now, only now the cross-round mythics have been unlocked, because Alliance have reached 100 guilds who have killed Mythic Jaina. Only now. I'm pretty sure the Horde one was done within a couple of weeks. The Alliance one took. So I feel like there needs to be some sort of push for players to join Alliance. So I don't know about this one as well. No plans about re-rolling keys. It is frustrating to top percent of players, but not a problem for majority of players. Not about re-rolling keys. I feel like what they had before, where you could delete a key during a run and maybe possibly get a random key, I thought that was I know it wasn't intended, but honestly, it served a good purpose, and it actually worked pretty well. I don't know why they can't go back to that kind of system, but maybe add a user interface. Instead of deleting your key midway run, maybe you say, when you start the key or something like that, I want to delete this key and get a reroll or something like that. I don't know, I felt that system was really good and really helped out 5-man groups who want to push together. And right now, if you have a 5-man group and you're pushing keys and then everyone gets like 20 King's Rest or something and no one wants to do that, which happens, believe me, it actually happens quite a lot, and no one wants to do it, and they're like, okay, we might as well split up, or I'm gonna try and look for a pug group that has a better key. I don't understand that. I don't really understand that logic behind it. Resident won't reset for Season 3, have fun stockpiling. Again, I'm pretty sure I have most gear on all the characters, so unless there's going to be... Actually, you can let me know, because I'm not sure about this. Is there going to be new Azeroth gear that you can buy with Titan Residum in 8.2? That's interesting. Maybe it is worth to stockpile. I need to actually research that a little bit more. Mythic Plus caches at the end of the week is 5 item levels lower than Mythic Raid, because they want to make the raid loot feel better. This wasn't an issue for me, because I always felt that Mythic Plus caches shouldn't really give you the better item level rewards than raids, because I feel to actually get into a Mythic raid, to organize a Mythic group, to progress as a guild, and then possibly get some loot out of it, should always give you the best gear, rather than just doing a 5-man group, which is way easier to organize, it's guaranteed loot, and it should always be lower than raids. That's the way I feel, because it is just easier, logistically speaking, easier to do 5-man content, organize 5-man content, than organize raid groups. So I have no problems with that. The general information here is the balance changes, and this is probably what a lot of people came in for the video. They weren't aware there's going to be some changes. Again, with I feel these are MDI driven changes, and I said this before. Outlaw Rogues and Protection Warriors will be nerfed in Season 3 numerically only. Prot Warriors and Outlaw Rogues are probably the most popular classes along Resto Druids. I honestly kinda expect a certain Resto Druid nerfs, but I'm happy they're not there. I'm playing my Resto Druid more and more, and I don't really want Resto Druids to be nerfed, but I honestly would not be surprised if they would nerf Resto Druids, but they need to nerf Resto Druids in Mythic Plus without nerfing them in raids, because they're not the best in raids. So I don't think they've figured out a way of doing that, so maybe that's why they haven't said it. Hopefully they don't nerf them, but I'm not surprised if they will. Outlaw Rogues again. Protection Warriors, how do I feel about that? Outlaw Rogues are kinda too strong. Melee is too strong a little bit. Protection Warriors, again, I like the idea. I really do. I like the idea of certain classes having certain niche. Protection Warriors have a niche of dealing a ton of damage, and I feel they're too strong in everything else. Like, they have a niche of damage, but at the same time they also have a lot of survivability. You have spell reflect and things like that. They're strong in a lot of different areas. I'm actually all about classes feeling or having some special things about them. And I want a tank. I want some tank to be extremely good at damage, but weaker at mitigation. Like, Blood Decay has a certain niche. They can heal themselves or provide so much healing by themselves, but they take a ton of damage, so they have to compensate. So I feel, I don't know which tank is gonna fill this role. I don't know what the nerfs are going to be for Protection Warriors, but I imagine it's going to be to do with damage, or possibly it's going to be mitigation nerfs and they leave the damage the same. It'll be interesting. Blizzard believes there are too many loot sources in the game, and it's likely to change that for 9.0. This is probably referring to the fact that Warfronts give you loot, maybe world bosses give you loot and stuff like that. Maybe they're gonna remove that, because I really don't believe there is too many sources in terms of Mythic Plus and raids, because there's only real one way of getting Azeroth, like in raids, and then, you know, waiting weeks and weeks and weeks until you get enough Titan Resident for Mythic Plus. I don't feel there's that crazy amount of loot sources. Warfronts don't feel really great in terms of the difficulty they provide and the loot that they give out. So I can see that happening. Blizzard doesn't want to homogenize classes to fix the ranged melee imbalance. Again, this discussion could be lasting for half an hour about how they're going to change classes. Do they want each class to feel or all the classes to feel the same, provide the same amount of damage, provide the same amount of defensives, or do they want certain classes to have unique abilities? I want classes to feel unique, but that makes class balance way harder. Guardian buffs and Vengeance buffs. Wow, the people who have mained Vengeance and Guardians have been waiting for this for a long time. They're aware that Vengeance is useless outside of Demon Spikes. Useless. Pretty harsh. They are aware bears don't have control on their lives. Buffs are in the lines of incoming rage and cost reduction to Ironforge. So I might call and say that Guardian Druids and Vengeance might be the best tanks in 8.2, because they're going to overbuff them, overcompensate for the lack of changes happening to them over the months. That's possible. Maybe Guardian is going to go back to the top. Maybe Vengeance is going to be the top raid tank for the first time ever since they've been introduced. They've never been a good raid tank. So I honestly want to see Vengeance to be overpowered. I want them to be overpowered because they've never really been that good in raid environment. In Mythic Plus they've been good. So it's very interesting to see that they're nerfing Prot Warriors. Maybe they're gonna nerf their niche of damage, because Vengeance for the longest time, Vengeance Demon Hunters, their niche was quite squishy but a ton of damage. In Legion they were serving that purpose. If you want to bring a tank that's going to be a little bit squishy, very mobile, but it will provide a ton of damage, you'll get Vengeance. So maybe they're gonna go back to that kind of niche. I'm not 100% sure, but it'll be interesting to see that as well. Blizzard is aware of the problem of having only DH give magic damage and monks give physical damage. They want to fix it by giving other classes other interesting buffs, but not the same for multiple classes. This will be interesting again. I feel it was kind of weird when they added all these, like, 42, the intellect buffs to mages, and then they made scrolls that were available. They were not as good as the class ones, but they made scrolls, and they never made scrolls for monks or the demon hunters, and they were extremely strong. Like, you had to have one. So I don't know how they're gonna go ahead in the future, but honestly, I'm looking forward to having certain buffs, or like feeling like, hey, I'm gonna bring this class here because they're gonna provide these awesome buffs that no other class can do. And I feel that's kind of interesting. Again, balancing is going to be a nightmare. So this has been my summary of what's happening in Mythic Plus in 8.2. I really want to hear your opinions about these class nerfs that are going to happen. I want to hear your opinion about how the class balance is going to, or how the class balance should be approached in the later patches. How do you feel about Mythic Plus, or the lack of new affixes coming in 8.2? We might have to wait a long time. I'm super excited about rewards happening in Mythic Plus. That's my personal opinion. I'm really excited about that because I feel Mythic Plus needs an extra push to be fun again, I guess. And I really want to see how Blizzard is gonna incorporate rated.io score. I'm excited. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know how you feel about these changes, about this video. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in my next guide.